Hello, it is me, We Anime or Anime We. I'm here to bring you part one of What If Naruto Was More Like Minato? Sorry for this getting out late. Recording issues, like usual. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm not happy either. Um, yeah, sorry. And also, when I was going through the audio of the first try of this, I realized in most parts you couldn't even hear me. Like, you couldn't even hear me talk half the time either. So, that and recording issues was my biggest issue with this. Um, yeah. Recording issues have been a big issue already throughout this week of me trying to record. It happened with my Deku series as well. I just decided I'm gonna try to record this first and then see if my Deku series will actually upload. Um, so yeah, well, that's happened throughout a minute. That's crazy. Yeah, if you are new here, my name's Wheat Anime or Anime Wheat. Um, yeah, I do these what ifs 3 times a week, three different ones within the week. On Mondays, I do, well, this series, it should have been this series on Monday. But once again, me and my luck have fallen. um, but what I mean is, I do this series, I record and upload this series, and I don't know if it will ever get posted on the same day. It sometimes does, sometimes it doesn't. But on Wednesday, we have um, What If Deku Had a Fire Quirk, right? And Friday, on Fridays we will have What If Itadori had a speed curse technique instead of the divergent um yeah, speed curse technique Itadori. That will be my first Itadori What If, so if you hate it, I'm sorry. It's my first one. It's not gonna be good. I'm sorry to say. But either way, if you enjoy the video, please do the subscribe, comment, do the YouTube things. If you have what if ideas that you want me to do, put them down below. But I will warn you, if I have yet to see the series, it will take me some time, okay, to actually get it done. Um, if you have a question for me about anime or something, put them down below. Let's do a mini Q&A with the first parts of my what ifs throughout this week and probably into the next. But yeah, you get my point. Uh, this is my first What If Naruto in a while. My last one was What If Naruto had poison release. I make all the jutsus, well, most of them that aren't canon here myself. If you'd like to use any of my what ifs that I made, like what if abilities, spells, curse technique, or whatever it may be, if I made it, you can go ahead and use it. Just comment down the video, or comment on a video that you say, hey, I'm going to use this. Okay. You don't really have to ask for permission. Just tell me that you're using it. Okay. That's all I ask for. I have socials on the media. You can find me on X and Instagram alongside here on YouTube, where I am mostly at. You can also find me on TikTok. I haven't posted yet, but it's on there. Um, yeah. Oh, by the way, the X account is We Anime Real. Real is in all caps. So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna explain how I do my what ifs, and then we can actually get into the series. Well, part one of. the what if. Um, so first, what we do is go through the backstory of, well, the character and whatever what if it may be. We go through the backstory, go through what we know, right? And then we get into the main timeline. With for the first part, I do plan on stopping at the bell test though. Hopefully I get there. Not entirely sure. I have to go in an hour, so I'm gonna try to get this under an hour. Okay. Anyways, if you hear any background noise, I'm very sorry. I stutter a lot and I pause around because I don't use scripts. So yeah. Anyways, I believe it's time we begin. Like in canon, um, like in the actual series, Naruto would still have Kurama. He would still be the son of the fourth Hokage Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. On his day of birth, it would be the day that chaos would arrive in the form of a tailed beast being controlled by a masked man. And we all know how that part of the story goes. Minato seals Kurama, and defeats the masked man, presumably. Presumably? I'm sorry, I also have a speech impediment. I don't know how to say words. Right? But the start of the story, the initial, like, birth of Naruto would be like in canon. Naruto's yellow hair, violet eyes would basically only be the big change here. But as he would get older, um, he would eventually live by himself. But after multiple attempts of either kidnapping or ending Naruto's life out of a apartment, he would be moved to a way safer place with way more security, aka seals and Ambu everywhere. Very few people were allowed into this safe house area where they would keep Naruto for the rest of the years, for a lot of years, actually. Um, when he would be moved, he would be 5 or 6, somewhere in between there, right? Either way. Now in this safe house, he would be taught, since he's around the age where they would be put into the academy, he would be being taught how to read, how to write, things like that. Well, he would already know that because he was taught how to read and write, right? Okay. But the basics of ninjutsu would is what he would be taught by one of the very few um, ninja allowed in there. Not Hiruzen, just trusted either Anbu or trusted Jonin allowed in within the area. I would also like to say, even though Hiruzen is still the Hokage, the Uchiha and their clan, well, the Uchiha clan, is not going to go through with the coup d'etat. It would still be a thought of what they're planning, but with them being been more lenient, and them not being faulted for the attack like they did in canon, they would still be alive and well running. Okay, I would like to say that well running. Um, Even though they would be mostly within the clan compound in that small part of the Leaf Village, they would be allowed to live elsewhere. Okay. Anywhere within the Leaf Village, they would be allowed to live within the housing areas. Right. But either way, the main family of the Uchiha clan has the head and his main family being Fugaku, Itachi, Sasuke, Mikoto, and characters like that. Maybe a female, who knows? A sister of Sasuke, who knows? I might get a thing. I have yet to decide. I'll be thinking of that on the other side. But either way, um, back to Naruto. For the next couple years, he would be learning a lot of basics of a lot of things. Shuriken Jutsu, Kinjutsu, um, Fuin Jutsu, seals, because he wanted to learn it all. He wanted to learn so much. That's the one thing he did do all the time is study. Since he wasn't allowed outside of the safe house, he's mostly told to just study, get stronger. There would be two sections of this safe house. One side would be the main living place of Naruto, about the size of a like studio apartment, like one room like that. It would be about the size of a studio apartment, right? And on the other side would be a little bit larger, maybe like a um it would around be the size of maybe just a larger part of it, right? That would lead underground. The only thing above ground would be Naruto's like actual living place. And then downstairs would be the training slash study. It would be a way bigger place, right? So there would be a lot more allowed in there. But above ground in the studio size like apartment, shed, building is where Naruto would be staying, like sleeping, eating, bathing, things like that. Now, on the outside, it does just look like the rest of the scenery, but in reality, um, it would be this small little like box, like studio apartment, like box, right? Anyways, um, that's how Naruto's life would be for the next 2 years. So when he was 7 or 8 is when we will stop here. And when he would actually be able to start training more into taijutsu instead of just studying on it or just, well, yeah, studying on it. He would read a lot of scrolls about a lot of the ninja world. Um, the other, like a map, he would read about maps and where the other five nations, well, not other five, the other four nations, great nations would be, and the other just lands that there be, like waterfall, wave, iron, um, things like that is what he would learn on about how the world is, where everything is, right? But as he would train and study more and more, um, learning more and more taijutsu and learning to be more accurate with throwing, he would come up with something in the middle of just practice in kunai throwing. practice, which he was good at. He was very good at. Now, I wouldn't put him on the level of prodigy like his father or Kakashi, Itachi, or Shisui. Sorry, butchering the names. But he would be maybe near Neji, maybe a little bit above Neji in the level of prodigy, if you want to put it that way. He would be able to get it under control quite quickly, consistently hitting like middle of the board where he wants to hit, right? He'd be able to do that quite consistently, but he would think of this new way as he would just be training. He would accidentally drop one, um, right? He would think, what if I. He'd do it. He'd just set it up on his foot, like on the blade side, like not on, he's not balancing it on his, like, between his toes. It's just setting on his foot. And a Jonin, well, Anbu, would be watching, multiple actually, but they would be watching the Anbu that Naruto is like able to actually visibly see. He can sense all of our chakras, given that he is a sensory type ninja. He can do it. Now, is he as good as like the Yamanaka? No, not at this age. But with his parents being who they are, he's very good at it. He always has known that they were there watching throughout the years. He's talked to them multiple times just out of the blue. He would, at one point when he was 7, he would be practicing writing a storage seal, right? And he would just hold it up to this random side, just a random part of the room, and ask, "Is this right?" Everyone in shock. Well, he was alone there, that they all thought he knew, but after learning that he is a source, not a sorcery, a sensory type ninja, it came very quickly like, oh, he knows he can sense our chakra. But either way, back to where we were. He would set it on his foot, he would kick it up and kick it. Now, it wouldn't go anywhere on the first kick, but after setting another one on his foot, he would kick it up again and kick the around the middle of it, a middle of the bladed edge, kicking it, and it would go flying. Not accurately, but it would go and just stick, or actually just clang off of the wall, just ding ding, right? He would go again, doo, and again, doo, 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 over and over and over and over again and again. Eventually getting a hand of it very quickly. Everyone would notice this as like, oh, so this is the type of kid he's going to be, or type of ninja he's going to be. He figured out like his own style at that point very quickly, which was very like good job. And then over the next few months, he would train this, getting more and more accurate at this, day after day, month after month, nearly up to a year, when he would get the idea of using a steel ball bearing. What this is, it is a metal ball. I'm not. steel or ball bearings is what it is. If you don't know what that is, look it up. They're just basically metal balls. Um, yeah, that's what he would use um, to fight with, and multiple other things. Yeah, with seals, he would become a pyromaniac. Things would go boom. Literally, he would really find the interest of explosive tags, and now he is in love. Weird. But he really likes to make things go boom. I wish I was joking. But this is the type of kid he is. He would really like to go boom, boom. Kind of like Megumin. Megumin, Konosuba, explosion. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, as he would grow older within the years, up to the academy entrance exam age around of 13, is when he would actually be let out of the safe house for the first time for, oh god, math, 8 years? No, that would be 14. 7 years. He was around 5 or 6. I'd say 5. And so, yeah, 8 years. For 8 years, he was stuck down there. Each and every day training, studying, and just living. Either way, he would continue on um, to the academy. Hiruzen would tell or Uraka, no, the proctor. I can't say its name. I butchered the name, dog. But either way, after he would do so, I tell the proctor, like, we're just gonna give him the test. He's gonna join a team, done and dusted, right? This is how it's gonna go. He would take the do the test, the clones, the substitution, the transformation jutsu, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. He would do those flawlessly. The clones he would make around 20-ish, 25, somewhere between there, even though that isn't his full potential, he does do it. Um, Eventually, he wouldn't be told to do the like training, like the sparring between students. He would just go against a Jonin, or well, a trusted one that's not actually just gonna go to end Naruto within a split second. So I'm not gonna go over the fight because I want to keep some things surprised, some surprises between the for the belt test. But let's just say he would pass with an explosive test result, to say the least. Either way, he would pass. He'd be going on to become a Genin, a member of Team 7 under the tutelage of Kakashi Hatake. See, once these two would meet, he already knew who Kakashi was. He was Inu. See, Naruto would know the Anbu around him by their code names, not their actual names, but he would recognize the scent and the chakra of Kakashi very quickly. after their first meeting. He wouldn't say anything about it just yet, but he would eventually ask Kakashi about it. But anyways, he would meet the team a little bit after. He was already on the rooftop, um, just chilling, right? Just kind of chilling on the steps. Eventually, Kakashi would show up. Kakashi would say, "Hello," his with an eye smile. Naruto would open his eyes from his just actually no, he would already have his eyes open. He would be a cloud watcher, I guarantee it. He would just look up um at him, already realizing which this wasn't their first meeting. Kakashi was within the room of testing. He wasn't the one that actually fought Naruto, no, sparred Naruto, but he was within that room watching Naruto uh, be tested, right? Either way. After that, they would, well, Naruto would ask the question of, "Are you Inu?" Kakashi's shocked by this, like, wait, he recognizes my chakra? Either way, he would say, "Yes, I am. How have you been, Naruto?" With a eye smile as well. With an eye smile, right? They would have a little chat just before Sakura and Sasuke would arrive. Um, I should probably explain on what Naruto looks like, huh? Um, Naruto has spiky, shaggy, blonde hair, relatively long, with two bangs framing his face, violet eyes, and fairly tan skin. Um, the hair would be relatively long, short, medium-ish, right? Uh, but as for Naruto's clothing, he is 5 foot or 152 centimeters if any of you use the non-American like metric system. Uh, I just use both. I tried to use both. I'm not very good at it. I know my height in it. I'm 5'7", 172 centimeters, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, he would be wearing a black forehead protector, like the headband, with a long sleeve mesh Under Armour like shirt. You know the fishnet type deal him and Shikamaru wear. Um, those two are the most notable ones in my opinion that I know of that I can think of. But it's kind of like the mesh like fishnet type shirt that they have on. Then he has a maroon shirt with the Uzumaki crest on the shoulders. Above that, and then he would be wearing a tan jacket with brown stripes on the sides, like going up and down the sleeves, and then brown shorts with mesh Under Armour like underneath, to where you could see it over his knees and a little bit down his like calf shin area, and then white bandages would wrap around his ankles with his black sandals, ninja sandals. And then across his belt waist area on the back of it, he would have one large pouch and two smaller pouches on both sides of his waist. that would be holding his stuff. Either way, they would go through introducing themselves. Um, Sasuke, being a lot happier, would say a lot more happier things. He would probably even say he wanted to be Hokage. Naruto's goal was not to be the Hokage, okay? That's just wasn't his goal as of right now, or maybe ever. Um, his goal he wouldn't really share, because he would think like, oh, they're just gonna make fun of it, or like make fun of me for thinking I can get there because they don't know crap about me. They don't know me. They've never seen me, right? But as Sasuke and Sakura, well, Sakura would say the same thing as in canon. Sasuke's things would change around a little bit. Naruto would say, as his likes, he would say, well, let me do the whole entire thing. Naruto Uzumaki, I, as for my likes, I like ramen. It's quite nice. I only have it once in a while. I only really like it from one place. But I like training and studying. Um, I like learning new things. Um, I like training with my seals. Wait, seals? Like the animal or what? Oh, no, seals. Like Fune Jutsu, like the writing. Um, he doesn't really know, he doesn't really have any on hand that he could really show, but he would reach inside one of the smaller pouches on his side and pull out a kunai, a weirdly designed kunai with three prongs. And on one side of it, it would have the seal writing. I don't know if that's actually kanji or what. I don't personally know. I don't know if it has ever been said either. But if you know, correct me if I'm wrong. But it would it wouldn't be a flying Raijin. I mean, the kunai is like Minato's style of kunai, right? But well, why would he pull it out of his side pouch? It would be in the bigger pouch is where he would actually pull out from. But he would show it, and he would show the writing, and he would say, "It's this. Um, this one in particular goes boom, big boom, multiple booms." Now, Kakashi would I smile at this, knowing what this is. Um, what? What does that mean? Oh, it's an explosion. Yeah. Anyways, um. Yeah, that's oh my dislikes. Um, hmm. I don't know yet. I mean, minus the villagers, minus some ninja here. I don't really dislike anything. Sakura being the part one DA that she is right now, she would say, "Wait, why do you hate the ninja and the villagers here? What did they do to you?" And Naruto with a cold like look. Before he would be able to say anything, Kakashi would say, "It's fine." Um, Naruto just has a weird past. Okay. You may have heard the demon child that lived in apartments, a old rundown apartment years ago. Have either of you heard of that? Um, both of them would nod, and Kakashi would say, "Well, that's him. He's Naruto. Ooh, gross. I don't want to be a team with him. Well, that doesn't matter. This is where you were put, so gotta deal with it for a little bit, okay? Until you make it to Chunin and Jonin. But who knows how long that will take? Yeah. He wouldn't actually laugh. He would just eye smile and just a small little giggle. But Sakura would scoot away, like away from Naruto, just switch positions, like on the other side of Sasuke. Sasuke then would just scoot inward, like, I don't care. You seem like a nice guy, even though this is the first time we've met. But you said your name was Naruto? Um, yes. Okay. Well, Naruto, it's nice to meet you. My name's Sasuke Uchiha. He would reach out his hand to handshake, and Naruto would shake his hand and say, "It's nice to meet you too, Sasuke Uchiha." It's also nice to meet you, Miss Haruno. Yeah, whatever. May I be dismissed? Yes, but first, um, tomorrow is when we will meet at Training Ground 7 and do a test of sorts. Alright, I'll be there. Which one's Training Ground 7? I'll come pick you up. uh, he actually wouldn't say that. But he would tell him, like, you'll find it. Right? Anyways, the next day would come, but before we get into the bell test, I want to do a little bit of something off to the side. And say, hey, how have you been enjoying this? Um, so far. I hope you have. I hope you've been doing good. Uh, I want to remind you all, this is a podcast format, like type what if. So, anyways, uh, yeah. Anyways, let's get back into the video. We see Kakashi just walking throughout the village on his way to go to the on his way to go to Training Ground 7, which he would already know that Naruto was there. He figured out his way there very quickly. He's actually been there the longest time. Kakashi wouldn't know what he's doing, but he's there. But on his way there, he would be stopped by an Anbu member, and to be told to go to Hiruzen's, or the Hokage's office, which he would head there quickly as he could. The body flicker, like the leaf style, the leaves would swirl and he would just poof, right? Making it there very quickly, just a split second after. And there'd be two other people within that room. Um, Kakashi would recognize one of them. Seeing the other's face once before, the older one would be Itachi Uchiha. But first, Hiruzen would say, "Thank you for coming so quickly, Kakashi. We have a slight issue. We had an odd number of students graduate this year, and we were going to ask if, with the help of this other Jonin, with the help of Itachi, Uchiha, you would be able to help out with our issue. I think I'll be able to. Time skip. The first three members of Team 7 would already be there. Naruto would be in a tree, just sitting there, writing. Uh, the other two don't know. But he'd just be writing within on pieces of paper, just with ink, right? He would just be writing over and over, eventually taking out kunai or steel ball bearings or shuriken or something along that nature, and just putting these pieces of paper on them in any way he could, either tying them to it or just wrapping it around it, whatever it may be, putting them in his like in two pouches on his actual legs, just to make sure, like on his shorts, like wrapped around. He would have his kunai, like regular kunai, um, or other kunai, and then on the other side would be shuriken, like a pouch of like shuriken, easily accessed. Anyways, eventually people would start to arrive. First being Kakashi, then Itachi, and then Kiyomi. Both of Sasuke's siblings would be there. Now, Itachi wouldn't be a permanent member of Team 7. He would be off and on uh, for reasons. Um, right. He was not a permanent member, but he would help out where if they needed it on a mission or training, whatever it may be. He's here for this first one, not to be part of the bell test. He's not gonna help Kakashi keep the bells away, right? He's just gonna sit here and observe through the eyes of birds, with a bird's eye view, basically, right? Sasuke would be surprised, like, "Whoa, brother, sister, hey, how you been? Why are you all here?" Eventually, it would be explained that Kiyome Uchiha would be part of Team 7 as a held back student from the previous year, who, well, she didn't graduate, but this year she did. So she's a year older than Sasuke is. And well, Naruto and Sakura as well, right? Sure, her being 14 while everyone else is 13, and both of the adults would be their own respective ages. I can't think of, I think they would both be 20s ish area, I think. I can't remember Kakashi's age on top of my head, but either way. Um, he, well, Kakashi would ask everyone to listen. He would explain the rules of the bell test, and it would begin. Naruto would sit still. He would stay right there as everyone else would go hide within the trees. Kakashi would ask, "Why aren't you gonna go with them?" "I have reasons." Alright, that's not his voice. "I have reasons. See, I've always wanted to spar with you, but I had to make sure everything was alright." And then poof. That was all along a clone of Naruto right there. and he would be elsewhere within the trees, and Kakashi would go hunting, eventually, firstly taking out Sakura with a genjutsu, and then Sasuke with the headhunter jutsu. Kiyomi would be last, and she would actually be able to put up not a very much of a fight, but a fight in the least. Um, Actually getting some taijutsu kicks in and a kunai or a shuriken actually thrown at him, but even though he would dodge, it would be on the right track with a substitution and her being knocked out by like a neck chop. Um, then it would be Naruto, which a clone would come in first to attack, which it would then poof after Kakashi would hit it. He would be surprised as he would say, Shadow Clone. And then he would realize he'd be stopped middle of just this area as the only thing that would be able to move is his eyes. Well, he would see on one tree a kunai, another tree a kunai. His head would be able to move to the side, kunai on a third tree, and on the fourth another kunai. As Naruto would walk up calmly, as he would say, "How you like it?" Anyways, that's what I call my paralyzing seal. It's a seal I came up with that takes a four-prong approach, like a barrier would do. Um, it just paralyzes you into not being able to move your main body. At least that's what this one does. Usually it stops the entire creature, or person, or animal, whatever it may be. It stops you. Why did I choose this voice? I don't know. But either way, I'm going to continue. It makes a cooler thing. See, I can't continue doing that. See, with that seal, it kind of sealed your own fate. You see, with barriers around it, it kind of just looked like branches. Luckily. So, yeah. Can I get those? I mean, I feel like you can just go poof out of there, but I made sure you can't with this one. Yeah, you can't use chakra. I mean, you can, but it's hard to do. As I know you can do. I sense chakra in your right eye. Or is it right eye? Uh, Left eye, that's what it is. I can't. Yeah, I'm not good with left and rights. But either way, I'm gonna walk up. I'm gonna take these. You can try to use chakra. Anyways, oh, these are fake. You were never there. Well, huh? Shadow clone. I use that same trick on you. You thought I was dumb enough to like. I can sense your chakra down there, friend. You made a bad decision to try to get me in an upper hand. Like a sneak attack, we both know I can sense your chakra. So, I don't recommend you coming up. I made precautions. You can probably see them in three, two, one. As Naruto would disappear, and things would go boom. I'm sorry about that. About the back. I'm sorry about the background noise. But things would go boom multiple times. The first explosion being the smallest, just a Naruto would be back into the main ground, with on the same tree that he started at, or well, the clone was at. But after the three explosions, just a Itachi would say, "Was that necessary?" Ah, you're fine. Your siblings are fine. Um, Kakashi, knowing him, he's probably also fine. And, well, within a body flicker, Kakashi would arrive. You did say you wanted to fight me, right? Spar? Fight? Let's do it with the crowd. But either way, uh, they would start throwing hands while Kakashi would mostly dodge or deflect the blows as Naruto would come in with a just amalgamation of a flurry of kicks and punches, right? But then after Kakashi would kick him in the stomach, he would go flying, but as he would do so, he would start to do hand seals in midair. Do, 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 do. He would say, "Wind release, gale palm," straight to the ground, and that would launch him up in the air. Just it would blow him up into the air as he would start to do hand signs again. He would breathe in. Fire release. Fire dragon bullet. And then more hand seals right after. Fireball. No jutsu. Straight after another, the fire head would open as the bigger fireball would go through as both of these would seemingly explode onto a Kakashi, but in reality, he just substitution out of the way. Kakashi would be off to the side, throwing a volley of kunai up at Naruto, who would then say, "Okay, how about this?" He would go through two hand seals. Let me hold on. I have a picture of hand seals. He would go through rat and then hair. As he would do so, on his body would be a um, barrier. This clear purple like hue would surround him. Just his entire body, it would be a barrier. As all these kunais, as he would hold up his hands like across his face in like vitals, they would bounce off, just ding, 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 bouncing off as Naruto would begin to decline in, uh, height. He would land like a Spider-Man type deal. He would grab three kunai out of his back like pouch, as he would then say, "How about this?" As he would throw them as quickly as he could straight at Kakashi. Kakashi would dodge the first one, and the second, and the third, them all impacting onto three trees right behind him. But then, after Naruto would use the boar seal, which is the boar down there in the corner. After using boar downwards, three things would shoot out, attaching to the kunai on one side, just bringing it back with it. They would These would be the chain lock seal. The seal would shoot out a ball and chain, like a steel ball bearing, and the chain, now that attached to the kunai, which would wrap around Kakashi's legs and torso, like bringing back the chain, slamming him across these trees, well, the middle tree, as Naruto would say. I'm surprised I got you with that, to be honest. I never really expected it to. Get you? So, anyways. Well, might as well try this. Haven't seen it this work. he would pull out of his like side pouch a another steel ball, like ball bearing, um, as he would say, "How about this?" As he would throw it up, go into the hair seal, which is the which one's hair? Oh, hair. Oh yeah, going into the hair seal. Uh, as he would do so, it would just kind of start to glow, and then not really explode, but a huge like blow, like a massive torrent, huge blast of fire is the way to put it, would just explode straight at Kakashi, who would kind of just look at it like wide-eyed, like, what? I never knew he did this. Just not does he just do fire jutsu. Um, he does this. Just it would engulf him, who then he would just substitute clearly. Uh, yeah, never really thought of that. Hopefully that hit. Oh, I never thought of the forest. Normally I wouldn't really care, but this is in the middle of like the town, so I know a little bit of water jutsu. So just hand seal and then water release, water bullet. Now, not a lot of water, but he would just throw it into the air. It would just pop, and it would start to do like a small rain shower. It would eventually cool down the fire. That would be his only water release jutsu because he it was really hard to learn, but he thought out of the many things that he causes to go on fire, he should probably learn how to put it out. So he learned how to use water jutsu. A water jutsu, that is. Well, where did he go? Nah, who cares? I got the bells. And that's where I'm going to end it here for today. I thank you all for watching. I just realized what time it is. Um, yeah, sorry. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it some love. Share it with your friends. Yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope to see you all next time. Roll the dice. Bye bye.